3. I will conduct an inspection once a month and you will be present to answer any questions or face eviction. 4. Failure to pay rent on time will result in your eviction. If we all follow these rules, I'm sure we will get along. Sincerely, blah blah. What the F did I just read? Fun fact about my building, we all own our own units. Nobody actually owns the whole building. I won't lie, I got to the number 2 and had a slight panic attack because I have cats and there's no way I was giving them away before I remembered we bought our unit just before Christmas. We rented it from a friend prior, and when she told me she was thinking about selling it, we brought it. Didn't even have to move. So in some ways it still feels like renting, but we actually own our unit. Now I'm not great at confronting someone. I tend to shake a lot, but at that moment I was quite angry, so I went upstairs and knocked on her door. You know the gut feeling you have? It was spot on. That door opened and there stood a Karen, her hair blonder than my own, her nails long and bright colored. She didn't look happy to see me there. I introduced myself and explained that I lived downstairs and that I wanted to talk to her about her note. She started to talk over top of me, explaining that her letter was basic rules and even a child could understand it, and if I didn't like her rules I could hand in a letter to vacate. Wow. I would ask if people are really this up themselves, but I work in retail and could answer my own question. I told her that I actually own my unit. She hadn't bought it or the rest of the building, but only her own unit, and that she couldn't enforce anything in her note. She didn't like that at all. She started yelling at me, saying that yes, she had indeed bought the whole building and that failure to comply with her rules would mean I would be evicted. I was just starting to think maybe I was wrong when another neighbor opened his door. He came out and asked what the issues was about and could she stop screaming as he worked nights and was trying to sleep. I told him I was trying to explain that she hadn't bought the building, and she started yelling again. My neighbor told her to stop and then said the best thing I had heard that day. Are you stupid? Her jaw dropped as he explained to her how wrong she was and that he was in fact part of the Strata Committee, kind of like a HOA that oversees the building, and that she had no right to make rules for everyone. She gave us dirty looks before slamming the door. I thanked him and he said in the entire time he lived there he hadn't seen someone so entitled. Update 1, April 2, 2022. So I guess this is an update to my last post. I had a lot of people ask me to post if she did anything else. This is also currently happening and my SO is witnessing it and texting me as I'm at work. So if you missed my last post, I had a new neighbor move into my building and she left notes on everyone's doors saying she had brought the building and gave us insane rules to follow. She does not own the building but only a unit or apartment. Jury is still out if she is insane or stupid. She has been quiet for the last few days and I thought maybe that's it. Apparently I was wrong. So each unit in our building is allocated one parking space. Just one. I park in mine and my SO parks his car on the street on the other side of the building. Our parking lot had one visitor space. It's a very small parking lot, 6 spots for residents and 1 visitor. The visitor spot is nearly always empty and my neighbors have said my SO could park his car there if he wanted, as we are the only unit with 2 cars, but he doesn't mind parking where he is. This morning my SO woke up to yelling. Our kitchen window overlooks the parking lot and he snuck a peek out the window and saw entitled neighbor standing next to our nice neighbor's car and they were arguing loudly. She kept yelling that she had a second car and needed to park in his spot and he had to move his car or else she would have it towed. He kept repeating that it was his parking spot and she could either park it in the visitor spot or on the street, and if she towed his car he would report it stolen. So said she kept yelling she can park where she wants and he needed to move it or else, so my SO decided to park his car in my empty spot in case she tried to park there while I'm at work. Last message he sent me, she has stormed upstairs in a huff and slammed her door. Update, I got home from work and she has parked her second car in the visitor spot, but she's parked it so badly it's blocking the driveway in. Right now I'm parked on the street but too tired to deal with her. Update 2, sorry I didn't update sooner. So like I said before, her car was basically blocking the driveway and I had to park on the street. Anyway, when I got up for work the next day it was still there, but when I came home it had gone. I asked my SO as he was at home and apparently a tow truck came and took it away. I'm still not sure which neighbor called the tow truck, but I have a suspicion it's the one she was arguing with. So said she has been quiet all day, only the odd footsteps. Update 2, April 5, 2022. Well, I'm back. As many of you predicted, her entitlement grew. In case anyone missed the update on my last post, her car was towed, but I don't know which neighbor did it. I'd count a link post, sorry. This made her more angry, but seeing as I was at work she hasn't blamed me or my SO. It's been raining all week and as I don't have a dryer I haven't been able to do any big items like sheets or towels, only clothes as I can hang them up inside. On Saturday it was finally sunny and I raced home from work, dragged my SO out of bed so I could wash all the blankets and dry them in case it rained again. I managed to get through 5 loads of sheets, blankets and towels, and I hung them all out of the line outside. We all share it. There are technically 2 different lines for us to use and we have never had an issue before. I hung out my last load and went inside to chill. I went back out about an hour later to get the first load off and found every single item I had hung out on the ground. Nothing had replaced it, all of it had been torn down and my pegs and peg basket gone. Most of what I'd hung out was still wet and now covered in dirt. I got my SO and he helped me bring everything inside before I went upstairs and knocked on her door. When she answered I asked if she had taken my washing off the line and she smugly informed me that she had not given my permission to use her line and that next time I should be polite and ask and she might let me. Look, I'm going to level with you guys. I work in retail and deal with nightmare customers. I know how to be calm around these kind of people and I tried to be polite about this whole thing with the letter and the car, but my bed is my safe space and I wanted it clean and she fucked with that just to be petty. I calmly told her that everyone can use the line. It's part of the building and nobody has to ask her permission. She tried to talk over me but I just held my hand up and told her I was part of the Strata committee, I know all the rules and who owns what and she needs to pull her head out of her ass, grow up and stop her behavior because it's not doing her any favors. I told her to have a nice day before she slammed her door. Update 3, April 10, 2022. I was really hoping my neighbor would settle down but here we are though this story has a satisfying ending I think. This just happened last night and I'm still a bit tired so I'm sorry for any spelling mistakes. Our neighbor had been quiet for a while and I thought maybe she had finally realized she couldn't control the whole building. One of her cars was parked in her spot and the other was parked on the street behind my so's car. Nobody's washing had been ripped off the line, no new notes were stuck to doors. Until yesterday. As we are the bottom unit, apartment, we have a side door that opens out onto the shared yard. I think the only time I use that door is to air the place out or as a shortcut to hang washing out. Sorry, anyway yesterday we were going about our day when we saw entitled neighbor and a few other people setting up tables and chairs in the yard. No big deal, it's shared space. A few minutes later there's a knock on the side door and it's her. So opened the door. It's a glass sliding door so she could see us, we couldn't pretend we weren't there, and did the usual greetings. She told us she was having a party and we needed to move our wooden planters off our patio because she needed the space for her barbecue. No. Firstly the patio